When we're troubleshooting issues related to private VLANs, we'll have to keep the following in mind. Number one, has the primary VLAN been created and identified as the primary VLAN? Have the secondary VLANs been created and identified as either an isolated secondary VLAN or a community secondary VLAN? Have we identified a promiscuous port for communication purposes? Have we correctly mapped the interfaces into the correct secondary VLANs? Have we put the right interfaces in the right community VLAN? Have we put the right interfaces in the right isolated VLANs? And so on and so forth. So these are the items that we have to keep in mind. So let's analyze a situation here. We have DNS1 that is not able to communicate with DNS2 when it should be able to. So let's understand what's going on in our topology. DNS1 and DNS2 are supposed to be in the same secondary VLAN, and it's a community VLAN, giving them the ability to talk to each other. We can verify that they can't communicate with each other by simply issuing a ping. So we can see DNS1 and DNS2 in our topology are situated in VLAN 200. And if we issue a ping 10.1.200.51, that's the IP address of DNS2, we can verify that the ping is failing. It's not supposed to be failing. We should have a successful response in this case. So the first item that we want to verify is if the VLANs exist. Do we have the primary VLAN, which is going to be VLAN 200? And then do we have the community VLAN, which is VLAN 502 created? In addition to that, while we're at it, let's verify if VLAN 501 is created as well, which is supposed to be our isolated VLAN. So when we jump on DSW2 in this case, we issue the show VLAN command. And when we analyze the output of show VLAN, we'll see that VLAN 200 exists, and the name identifies that it is for those devices that are in the 10.1.200.0/24 network. And then we have VLAN 501 and 502. Now the naming wasn't done very well here. Whoever created VLAN 501 and 502 should have identified that it was an isolated VLAN or a community VLAN, whatever it's being used for, so we have a better understanding. So what can we do to verify what these are? Well, we can use the command show VLAN private VLAN to get more information on them. And we can see here that 200 is our primary VLAN, the main VLAN that is associated with 10.1.200.0/24. And then within that, we have two secondary VLANs, and it is VLANs 501 and 502. So this naming should have been a little better, and it should say isolated VLAN or in community VLAN potentially, so we can have a better understanding of what's happening when we look at the output of show VLAN. Brief, but with show VLAN private VLAN, we can see right here it says 501 is an isolated VLAN. So we've identified that as being the isolated VLAN, and we've identified 502 as being the community VLAN. So right now, DNS1 and DNS2 should both be within that secondary VLAN of 502, which is the community VLAN. Are they? Well, DNS1 is, because you can see here from the output of gigabit 1/0/21, the port is a member of that community VLAN, and that is the port that is connected up to DNS1. But where is the port for DNS2? Well, that port is gigabit 1/0/2 according to the topology, and if you notice, oops, it's in that isolated VLAN. So since it's in the isolated VLAN, it's not able to communicate with DNS1, which is in the community VLAN. So let's issue the command now, show interfaces, gigabit Ethernet, 1/0/22 switch port. And when we analyze this output, we'll see towards the bottom that it says the administrative private VLAN host association is 200 and 501. So it's our host association mapping that is incorrect here. We accidentally put DNS2 in that isolated VLAN of 501. And we can also see here that it says we are operationally in that private VLAN. So not only were we configured for that, but we are in that private VLAN right now. So let's look at the output of show run interface gigabit Ethernet 1/0/22. And we'll see that the command switch port private VLAN host association 200, 501 is the culprit. It should say 502. So let's go ahead and copy this. We'll type in configure terminal, copy and paste it, go to the beginning of the line and erase that command. And then we'll grab all of this right here and we'll remap it properly. So 200 and 502. We'll hit enter. We'll let it cook for just a moment. We'll see the interface come up. Let's look at the output though. Show private VLAN first, or show VLAN private VLAN. And we'll see from this output that gigabit Ethernet 1/0/22, which is connected to DSW2, is now in the correct community VLAN. Issue solved. But let's confirm that it's solved by going back to DNS1 and issuing a ping. And we have successful connectivity. So it's important that the host associations are mapped up properly with the private VLANs, with the switch port private VLAN host association command, then specify the private VLAN and the secondary VLAN, or else, as you can see, the communication will not occur properly.